There's just something magical about diving into the game series for the very first time, and that's exactly how I felt when Koei Tecmo unexpectedly sent me a free code for Ninja Gaiden 2 Black. And there was no obligation to even create a video or a review for this game. But receiving a game code is very rare for me, and it was actually an exciting moment for me as a content creator. I couldn't pass up on this opportunity, so I decided to give it a shot, and this was my very first experience with the Ninja Gaiden franchise. And I like to share and go through along with my journey of how I felt about Ninja Gaiden and especially Ninja Gaiden 2 Black. As someone completely new to the Ninja Gaiden series, I had no idea what to expect. When I booted up the game, I always heard about its reputation for being brutally difficult and unforgiving, which made me both curious and honestly a little bit nervous. Just an opening sequence quickly caught my attention. You step into the shoes of Rui Hayabusa, a legendary dragon ninja tasked with retrieving a stolen demon statue and rescuing a kidnapped CIA agent named Sonia. From there, the story rapidly escalates into battles against the demonic forces and rival ninja clans. As someone unfamiliar with the series' lore, I found the plot, straightforward, right, but serviceable. It felt more like a setup for an action rather than deep narrative experience. However, the dramatic cutscenes and boss introductions kept me engaged, even if I wasn't entirely invested in the story. One of the things that struck me was how polished the game looked. Running on the Unreal Engine 5, Ninja Gaiden 2 Black has a modern appearance despite being a remaster. The character models are detailed and the environments are visually stunning. The gore is dialed up to the maximum. Watching enemies get dismembered and blood spray across the screen was both shocking and oddly satisfying, and gave me the combat of visceral edge that I wasn't really expecting. The performance was another highlight for me. The game ran smoothly with noticeable frame rate drops even during the chaotic battles with the dozens of enemies on screen. This made the experience far more enjoyable, especially for a newcomer like me who has still figuring out all these sorts of mechanics. Load times were also nearly non-existent, which was a relief whenever I had to restart after dying, and trust me, that happens quite a lot. The smooth presentation made it easier to focus on gameplay and immerse myself in the action. If I had to describe the gameplay in one word, it would be relentless. From the moment I started, the game threw me into a fast-paced combat scenarios and demanded precision, quick reflexes, and strategic thinking. As a complete novice, the learning curve was very, very steep. I struggled with the controls at first and found myself dying repeatedly to even the most of the basic enemies. However, as I spent more time with the game, I began to appreciate its depth. And the combat system is incredibly rewarding once you start to get the hang of it. Each weapon feels unique, offering different playstyles and combos to master. I gravitated towards the Dragon Sword for its versatility, but experimenting with weapons like Lunar Staff and Falcon's Talons added variety to the gameplay. Upgrading these weapons unlocked new moves, which kept the combat fresh and exciting even after hours of play. Now, one thing that surprised me how much of the exploration mattered. The game rewards you for paying attention to your surroundings, whether it's discovering hidden items, upgrading your weapons, or finding new paths. Missing an important upgrade or a weapon could make certain sections significantly harder, which encouraged me to stay vigilant. This level of engagement made the game feel immersive, and even as I faced countless of challenges. For me, the boss fights were the highlights of the game. Each encounter felt unique, with its own mechanics and attacks patterns that forced me to adapt and improve. At times I felt completely overwhelmed, especially when bosses would defeat me multiple times in a row. But those moments of frustration made the victories even sweeter. There's nothing quite like the rush of finally taking down a boss after countless of attempts. What stood out the most was the dramatic build-up to each boss fight. The game doesn't just throw a boss at you, it creates a sense of anticipation with cinematic introductions and high-stakes scenarios. These moments were some of the most memorable parts of the game for me, and they left a lasting impression. As much as I enjoyed my time with Ninja Gaiden 2 Black, it wasn't without its flaws. The camera was in particular constant was the source of the frustration for me. It often struggled to keep up the fast-paced action, leaving me vulnerable to off-screen attacks. For a newcomer, this made an already challenging game even harder. The level design, while visually impressive, it felt a bit repetitive at times. Many stages boiled down to linear corridors filled with enemies, which could become tiresome after a while. The underwater sections were another weak point. They felt clunky and out of place compared to the rest of the game, disturbing kind of the otherwise smooth flow of the experience. I also couldn't help but notice that some content was missing compared to earlier versions of the game. Certain bosses, costumes, and features from Ninja Gaiden Sigma 2 were absent, which felt like a missing opportunity to make this a definitive edition. While these omissions didn't affect me as a newcomer, I imagine that they might disappoint longtime fans of the series. Getting into Ninja Gaiden 2 Black with no prior experience, I wasn't sure what to expect. What I found was a challenging, exhilarating, and deeply rewarding game that pushed me to my limits. Koei Tecmo's unexpected gift gave me the chance to explore a franchise I might not have tried otherwise, and I'm so glad I took this plunge. While the game isn't perfect, the camera issues and some of the design quirks hold it back, it's easy to see why Ninja Gaiden series has such a devoted fanbase. The intense combat, memorable boss fights, and polished presentation left a strong impression on me, and I'm already curious to explore more games in the series, especially Ninja Gaiden 4. If you like me and never played Ninja Gaiden games before, this remastered version is a fantastic place to start. It's challenging, yes, but it's also incredibly rewarding. I'm grateful for the opportunity to experience this iconic franchise, and I hope my review encourages others to give it at least a try. Now, have you played Ninja Gaiden 2 Black or just in general Ninja Gaiden games? I'd love to hear your thoughts down in the comments below. And with that, thank you so much for watching, like and subscribe. I see you guys all, and have a wonderful day.